I scraped the entire storyline for Cyrus and started over.
Wait, shut up. Did you really? I didn't know that. Because that's what you were working on. You started last week.
Well, because I had returned to it and I already had like 10 to 15,000 words. I can't
Yeah.
remember. It was like maybe 1250, 12 or 13.
Okay.
And I had that
So
and I
basically a
was like,
chapter.
yeah, half a
Yeah.
chapter.
Yeah. Right. Basically an intro paragraph.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
epic high fantasy, that's like,
Yeah.
if it's not 12,000 words, is it even a chapter?
It's not
Come
even a
on.
chapter. Come
Come
on.
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so I had that and I was looking at it and I was like really struggling with the tone. And I was like, I don't like it. I'm scraping the whole thing.
Crazy.
So
Oh
I
my gosh.
started over and I'm on chapter 3 already. So I'm only, I don't even know. Yeah, I'm only on chapter 3.
So but you are done with the other two? Or do you
Yes.
still, okay, you're totally done.
Totally done. They will
Totally.
have to be edited. I'm hoping to get Cyrus done by the end of October.
Yeah.
I know that's a psychotic plan. Don't
Yeah.
judge me.
Yeah.
But or first week of November and then
Yeah.
spend the rest of the time just editing the heck out of the manuscript.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So now you said you are scheduled for development edits. Do you not have him line edit, or do you do
He
that
does
separately?
line edit. I do that
Okay.
separately.
Okay, you do it same time, same thing. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll have the development edits and then he'll take about 4 weeks or so to do that. He's going to give it back to me probably in the new year. And
Yeah.
then I will try to, I'm hoping to have a really strong development piece going into it.
Yeah.
Because I will say, sometimes I am not the best planner when it
Yeah.
comes to actually writing the first drafts of the book.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to change that this time around and be really like organized and leave those notes to myself, really
Right.
get it together. And so that
Yeah.
it is a stronger piece going to him so that development edits can be turned around faster. And then that way I can get into the line copy edits that he'll do. He'll take another
Gotcha.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
And then I might not do a proofread this time around. I've already discussed it with him because a lot of times once I get past the line and copy edits, I really don't need the proofread.
Yeah.
Like with him, like because he's very meticulous with the
Yeah.
line copy edits. And we go
Yeah.
through and, there's like maybe a comma here.
Yeah. Right.
But I could catch that,
Right.
So if I
Right.
took the time. So I was already talking to him about that. So it's up in the air. I might do the proofread. I might not do the proofread. It
Yeah.
depends on the actual step by step. What is the initial reaction once we get in there? Does it all royally suck, or
Right.
is it strong enough to hold
Right.
up with only a development line copy?
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. I already told him. I'm like, it's not about the money. It's just about time, and if
Right.
it's not necessary.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
So you have what? Let's pull the old calculator up here. 45,000 divided by 11. It's only 4,000 plus words a day.
Oh, good. That's
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah,
Simple.
that's totally,
Cake. Yeah.
totally cake. Trying
Yeah,
to get from point A to point C, though, got to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, I mean the whole thinking part and actually making it good and make sense. No, don't worry about it.
And then on
Just-
top of that, keep studying.
Right. Yeah, keep studying. Get your next cert. You got this. No problem. Now,
Yeah.
I would not have this, considering that we already discussed this. I take 4 days just to write a sentence. So I would not have it.
It's freaking glorious, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know. I'm like, okay, I'm sweating a little bit, but I'm like, just freaking write, bro. I'm
Yeah.
like, Cyrus, I'm very excited for his storyline. I'm like, the majority of it is already in my head. I'm like, there's just a couple of spots where I'm a little like, the transitioning, where you're
Right.
like, okay.
Yeah.
But
So what the heck made you scrap it?
I didn't like the tone.
Just the
Does that
tone.
sound weird? I'm
No, it
very
does sound weird.
I follow storylines based on tone.
Yeah.
And if they can all cohesively deliver a type of tone, which will
Mhm.
be represented by the book cover, then I'm very happy with it.
Yeah.
There's like a tone in my head where it's like an intuitive thing where I'm like, I get into it and I go, the tone's not there.
Yeah.
And then I scrape it.
So you were telling the same story that's still in your head and the same story you're going to tell again. So it's not like the beats and the story is different.
No.
It's literally just the tone.
It's the tone.
Crazy.
And I think that comes down to some of the introductory chapters.
Yeah.
So I think when I was kind of breaking it down, when I was looking at what I had done already versus what I was thinking about doing.
Yeah.
The majority of the storyline is still there. The intent, the ending, all of that, like the
Yeah.
climatic point. But
Right.
those first introductory chapters really set a tone, and I was just not feeling it with them. I was like, I'm not sure this is representative of, I see the fly. I'm not
Oh,
sure this is
y-
representative.
Chelsea has been hunting this fly for the entire morning. So
He is so
yeah,
loud.
yeah.
So loud. I've killed his brethren already. But
Have you
him?
seen the salt guns? Have you seen
No.
those? Yeah, so they look like Nerf guns. They're plastic, and there's just salt. There's a salt dispenser on top of it, and you cock it like a shotgun, and it just blasts a blast of salt, and it'll take them right out of the sky, and you just wipe it up and put it away.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
I'm usually not a mean person, but I don't understand the point of flies.
Yeah, no flies are. I'm sure there is. If there's a biology expert or something,
Some sort of
um,
evolutionary where they're
yeah,
like, this is what they do for the nature and the
right.
environment.
There's got to be something, but yeah, anybody that comes for us talking about killing flies, don't, because I know you killed them too. So
We
yeah,
are all guilty.
we are all guilty of flyicide. So yeah.
Side. That was incredible. Honestly.
Oh, I'm incredible. I've also
Yeah.
got an incredible hair in my eye, and I can't get it
Oh, you
out.
can't get it out?
Yeah, it's bothering the heck out of me.
Oh, bro, that
It
sucks.
does suck. It does suck.
So, speaking of writing, have you done any writing this week?
I've done no, not this week. This week has been a very busy week in other arenas, but I have been doing writing in my head.
In my head.
Yes, and the tone has been great, so I'm not gonna have to delete it. Yeah, the tone is there. No deleting here. It's all good. I did get some good writing done last weekend though.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Which I'm still on. I haven't gotten much further up the hill than last week when I stopped
Up
and
the
for
hill.
yeah, you're right, because we stopped at the hill and we were
The
working on
shadows.
the shadows. So I haven't got much further than that because
Yeah.
I'm stuck on that. Do you remember when I was first telling you about it? And in the woods there are those beings that like were communicating through the trees,
Yes,
but it was
yes,
like
yes.
a game of telephone, and like all
Yeah.
the conversation was getting messed up, and it got to the point where like one person was saying, let's be friendly to them, the other was saying let's eat them, and they thought they were saying the same thing. Like, yeah, it was just really funny. uh well, like act two of that. Like, so like there was that whole conversation, and then it showed the riders going through the woods, and now it's like there's another section of that dialogue between like all the beings in the forest. So that's where
Oh,
I
so
spent most
trying
of
to
my
get
time.
that out and
Yeah,
like,
yeah, and it's still hilarious. Like, it's like I just
oh, of
can't
course
stop.
it
I can't
is.
stop laughing. But I have to kind of rein the tone in, because it's like, okay, like these guys are like doing stand up now, and it's like, okay, well, you shouldn't be doing stand up, and because I mean you saw the tone of the preface. It's
I get it. It's like
yeah,
it's trying to compromise. You
right,
still want to bring in that tone of like the humor when it's necessary, but when you're
right,
working with a genre like this,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, there's a
It's
fine
super
line.
super super dark, but at the same time, like these guys don't know that there's anything bad
Going on.
happening.
Yeah.
They're just living their lives, and they're
Yeah.
goofballs. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now, and it's a lot of fun. But again, dialogue does not take me as long as
I
the
love
exposition.
dialogue. I
Yeah,
love dialogue.
yeah.
You get two characters put together,
Oh yeah,
man, I
yeah.
love
You
that
just you
stuff.
just go forever. Yeah,
Oh,
it's yeah.
I love
So
that
I
stuff.
did. So you remember the scene where one of the characters was in the kitchen, and I was explaining how they got running water and how they got hot water and cold
Yes.
water and all that
Love
stuff,
that
which is
chapter.
really cool because they're not using magic; they're just using ingenuity. But it's
Yeah.
it's in fantasy time, so it's not like they have plumbing and stuff. So it's really
Yeah.
cool. Anyways, I did a shower scene where they used that type of contraption, but in a much larger setting, and it's in a shower, and it it was pretty cool too. Like
Dude.
explaining the plumbing, how it all works, and how Midakin, the guy who created it, had. It is so crazy how deeply involved you get in story, in like these little, there's these lines and lines and lines of stories that
Oh my
really,
god.
it's like they don't matter, but like they 100% matter.
They matter because they add. I don't know how to
Right.
explain it. Like those minor moments, the subplots, or like those
Right.
like the strings where you're talking about, where it's like
Yeah.
you go down these snail trails where you're like,
Right.
okay, I need to know about this
Right.
because I'm crazy,
Right.
but really on a surface level is all we matter.
Right. Like the castle has running water, but the reason it has running water is because Midekin, 20
Because
years ago had created this
yeah,
system,
but that
and so
adds
now
depth,
right, it's so much
layer.
depth, yeah, it's like so yeah, so I did get to write that this weekend as well, and that
That's
was fun.
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, I think it adds so much to it. And I'm going to say it, it adds tone.
It does. It
It's
does add
not
tone.
shallow because you
Right.
can, even if it's like a book later or something, or like
Yeah.
400 chapters later, you can be
Right.
like Midekin. And
Yeah.
people are going to be
Right.
like, oh, I know who that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
This
Oh,
minor
he's a dude who
detail.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you keep adding on to that and keep building on that, and instead of just being like this 2D or this flat, single story, it's this massive 3D monstrous thing that you can get lost in.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's the big difference and what draws people like you and me to that genre.
I love it. One thing I've learned, and I kind of brought it up, was like, short stories are very difficult for me,
Mhm.
unless it's horror. For some odd reason, I can do
Horror's
horror.
a lot of fun and pretty easy to write, yeah.
Pretty easy to write, even in a
Yeah.
short story
Short stories,
concept.
yeah.
But any other type of short story, I really struggle with,
Yeah.
just because there's so much depth that I want to add,
Right.
and then I end up it's not balanced,
Right.
right? Too much of
Right.
this, not enough the actual plot,
Right.
because I'm working on the grand scale,
Right.
and I'm not adhering to the
Right.
short story
And
guidelines.
I can't remember who had talked about short stories as a vehicle for storytelling, but it's not that short stories are any lesser
Not at all.
because of that. It really it's the skill of the writer to be able to go, to tunnel through all of that massive story building and world building, whatever genre it is, to
Yeah.
tunnel through that and just get to this very granular, specific point in time and tell that story as if, it was a part of this much larger,
Yeah, being
massive
able to
thing.
identify what's important and what's not.
Right.
And that's a
Right.
big thing. And I'm learning that because I actually there is a side quest story that I want to do in the Varelian world that is more
Yeah.
of a short story.
Cool.
And it's something I've really wanted to play with, but I've kind of used it as an exercise to be like, okay, what is important? What's not important?
Right.
What do you
Right.
need to introduce in order to add depth to this? What is not necessary?
Yeah.
But in horror, I do fine.
Yeah.
It's a weird, I don't know if
It
it's because I
it
just
again, it
completely
goes
separate myself.
right, it goes back to the writer because for
Yeah.
some reason we can just jump right into the here and
Yeah.
now, right to that granular moment and go.
Yeah.
But for some reason, doing that in like higher epic fantasy is much more difficult. And I'm sure there are writers that are incredible at it,
Oh
because it
god,
'cause it
yeah.
is a skill.
It
But
is.
yeah,
Writing short stories in that kind of type of genre,
yeah.
what a true epic skill to have.
Oh, yeah.
That is something that I think comes with time, practice, and
Right,
exercise.
right.
The other thing I've noticed too is I can't, let's say I have a story idea, right?
Yeah,
And I'm like, because I've had quite a few in the passing years where I'm like, oh, I
sure.
really want to do that.
Yeah.
I can't because the world is limited. And I've
Okay, yeah.
understood that about myself now. If
Okay.
I can't world build to a grand scale
Yeah.
and have my own rules,
Right.
even if it's in the modern world, like the Project Realm Thief, which is going to blend modern rules with the
Mhm.
fantasy rules
Right,
that I make
right.
up on a grand multi realm scale,
Yeah,
it's like I can't. I freak out. Like I'm like I can't do this.
yeah.
Like I've tried to work
So
with
it's safe to say that
supernatural. Like yeah.
it's safe to say that fan fiction is not,
Oh my god,
something that you
I would blow up.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
because I need to start making rules. I need
Yeah.
like it almost like I work on such a grand scale in my imagination with like the freaking world building and all the rules and
Right,
whatever it might be that like
right,
asking me to write in a limited world is
right.
extremely difficult, or a world that is designated already with rules like a
Right,
fan
a
fiction.
world that you did not create.
Yeah, like
Right.
I need full control.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where I
And again,
thrive.
that's not the limit of the story or the
Not at all.
creator of that world. It's the limit of the writer.
And
You
it's
know,
what we
of
prefer too,
right. Right. And it's
like,
preference. Yeah.
because I've really tried for quite a few years. I would start these projects where I was like, they were very modern, right?
Yeah.
And I would be like, okay, I want to do this, I want to do that. And I'm like, why am I struggling so much with just
Yeah.
feeling in touch with the story
Yeah.
or like enjoying it or feeling like it has all its potential? And it's
Right.
just like mentally, it finally clicked this year where I was like, it's because I like to world build. It's
Right.
as simple as that.
Yeah.
I
It's as simple as that.
love it.
You want to be in
Yeah.
your world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think being able to accept what your limits are or what you want to work on or what you know you're best at and where you thrive at, I think is a huge thing as a writer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it doesn't happen overnight. Again, I've been writing for, I don't even know, freaking 15 years now.
Yeah.
And I started publishing 3 years ago. I don't know when I published The Blood of the Lion.
Yeah.
But it's just like, just now I'm starting to figure out what works and what doesn't work
Yeah.
for me.
It's a constant and continual evolution. It never stops. We all continue to grow. So
Yeah.
no matter where somebody is in their journey or in their writing process, yeah, you're constantly going to grow and learn about yourself and develop new skills, or or realize that I don't necessarily want to tackle that. I don't need to develop that skill. I'd rather develop this skill. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, writing is definitely not it's not cookie cutter, and it's not,
No.
oh, this person's so good at this, why can't I be good at this? Well, because you're good at this,
And they might not be
yeah,
good at that.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of where you are, what your focus is,
Yeah.
and what your passions are. Like you said, maybe you could be good at it if you wanted to spend the time and develop that craft, and et cetera, et cetera. But
Yeah.
you want to. I'm dying.
Oh my god, dude, I literally just about choked on my water from you doing that.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, why am I laughing?
Oh, dude. Oh, dude. Oh, my eyes are watering. My face is turning red. I think I'm dying. Dude, my throat just completely, it just went dry. Like, it just went dry. Oh, my goodness.
Oh my god,
Oh,
dude.
where did my everything go? Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
Bro,
Woo.
I laughed so hard and I really shouldn't have.
Oh, my gosh. What
That's
in
too
the world
much.
has happened?
What in the world has happened?
What in the world has
Are
happened?
you okay, Micah?
This goes back to something I was going to tell you in the beginning. As you can see, I'm drinking water again.
Yes.
Why? Because I still don't have any coffee. I've gone a week without coffee.
How are you feeling?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. But I ran out of Folgers, and then I
You
got some of that.
s-
Well, yeah. So I remember. So last week I ran out of Folgers. I got some of that frou stuff, and
Yes.
it was good. It was fine. But what I'm realizing now is that, like, I am so sick and tired of brewing coffee every morning. I'm so sick and tired of it. So I went out yesterday, day before, and I bought a Keurig. And
No way.
yeah, and it's one of the nice ones, that can
Yeah?
do like a bunch of different stuff, and because sometimes you want to pamper yourself, you want a little
Nice and easy.
froth up there, you want to
Of
get some fancy stuff
course.
more. Yeah, so I got me in, but I'm an idiot. Yeah, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid, Chelsea. I bought the Keurig. I didn't buy any K cups. I didn't buy any K cups, Chelsea. So now I've got this dope Keurig sitting there. It's all nice and it matches and it just looks great. And Amanda's like, "Oh, that's cool." And Lily's like, "Oh, can we get like cocoa cups and cider cups?" I was like, "Heck yeah, we can." And I didn't get any when I bought the Keurig, so now it's just now. So I'm still coffeeless, Chelsea. I don't know what's happening. I don't know.
My
I don't know what the
god.
problem is.
Are you going to go today?
Yeah, so Decky and I think the Amanda left the minivan, so I think Decky and I are gonna go today and get some K cups so I can actually enjoy. You
Dude,
know,
that is
yeah, it's so
hilarious.
funny. I was so happy. I got this big old walking out of this big old, and brought it home and cleaned it and set it up and read the instructions and I was like, oh crap.
And insert the K cup. You're like,
Exactly.
what K cup?
What K cups? Yeah. So
Oh my gosh.
next week I will have
Copper
Coffee.
coffee.
Proper coffee.
Given the cold weather, it might be a hot cocoa.
Yes.
So
Yes.
as I have discussed with you, I cut caffeine out, and I
Well, and
have
I
not
have
been
2.
back.
Yeah, so I'm on decaf when I do
You're
drink
on
coffee, and
decaf?
so the K cups. So I was doing a ton of research last night trying to find the best decaf K cups,
Folgers,
which was obviously Folgers. There was no question. I don't
obviously.
even know why I googled it.
I mean, what kind of
Yeah,
person are you? You're
right,
disgusting.
right. It's obviously Folgers. But yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm on decaf now too. So
Okay. So how long have you been on decaf?
month and a half. Well, since I started,
Oh,
since the
since you did
anxiety stuff.
the yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that's right.
So,
That's right.
because I immediately said, caffeine's got to go out at while I'm dealing with that, and now
Yeah.
that that's all out of the way and taken
You
care of
re-
now, I kind of stuck with it. I'm kind of like,
you don't
let's
need
just let's
caffeine.
just yeah, let's
Okay.
just stick with decaf.
Do you feel better throughout the day without the caffeine?
Yes,
I do
yes,
too.
I do.
So I have, and I was a religious caffeine coffee drinker for
Oh, 100%.
years,
Yeah, yeah.
like twice a day, sometimes 3 times a
Right.
day when I was on my worst
And
binge.
big cups sometimes,
Big cups, yeah. Give me
Starbucks sometimes, whatever. Like caffeine was always in my system,
Yeah,
always. Yeah.
always. And then I started the continuous glucose monitor thing as an
Hmm.
experiment and noticing just how much even the caffeine itself impacted the volatility of your glucose and how the
Interesting.
insulin responded to that. And which was life changing.
Okay.
And I was like, you know what? I'm going to switch to decaf. I tried decaf for a couple of days and I had no response from the glucose, and which was extremely positive,
That's
realizing
cool.
that caffeine was actually creating a more volatile
Yeah.
and, unstable atmosphere for your
Right.
glucose and insulin relationship.
Yeah.
And I've been off caffeine for 4 weeks now and I feel top notch.
That's
Yeah.
great.
Right
I
back
hit the
at you,
hit the
dude.
mic. Yeah, dude. That's good. I'm really pumped for you. That's
Yeah.
because I mean, and there's this good friend of mine. He's a very healthy dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
very very in shape. But he hasn't done caffeine for years, and he stopped it because it is your body certain chemicals and reactions in your body do end up relying on the caffeine to do things that
Yeah.
it's supposed to do naturally. And so he's kind of a hippie, but he's a super cool dude, right?
Right.
And so he was always like, dude, if you can ever get off coffee, do it. It'll change your life.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, good on us. Look at
Good
us,
on us.
Chelsea.
Look at us. And
Yeah.
by the way, not planned for either of us to intentionally cut out caffeine at the same time or around the same
Right,
time.
which is just more evidence of how we're freakily connected. Yeah, we're in
Gotta be
sync.
connected, man.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, but I love the taste of coffee, as I'm sure you
yeah,
do with
yeah.
Folgers and all that. So it's
Oh,
like
obviously,
being able to
the best
have
taste, the best taste.
I got Illy decaf, which is a European bean.
Oh,
So,
I saw Illy when I was looking at stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So don't buy it in store because they're crazy expensive when they're in state. I don't know what it
Okay.
is about them. They're
So
like,
so
it's
order it from
$18 for this little baby can. And you're like,
crazy.
bro,
Okay.
buy it online, way cheaper that way, way
Yeah,
better priced. But yeah, just got that. So I'm actually going to be breaking into that today because I love the taste of coffee. I
I do
love it.
too.
I
I
love it. I
love it.
love it.
I
And
love it.
so, yeah, being able to have that and it's still just as delicious,
Right.
but
And
without the caffeine.
one thing I've been on my own personal health journey, cutting out not only caffeine but also sugar,
Mm-hmm.
lots of carbs. Probably took it down from 60%. And people are gonna say, oh, 60%. Well, no, dude. If you look at your macros, most of the things you eat in a day are carbs.
Yep.
Just be honest.
Yep.
But so I cut my carbs down to probably 30%
Yeah.
carbs, which is good. So it's cutting all that stuff down. I also wanted to look at other, the sneaky ways sugar can get into your
Oh my
system,
gosh, it's
which is like,
everywhere.
dude, it's everywhere. But like, even like the creamer or milk, you
Yep.
know. So I started because I do sometimes I'll drink black coffee and I like black coffee, but sometimes you want to have a yummy coffee. You want to have
Oh,
like the cream and
yeah.
something some flavors or whatever. So I've gotten some oat milk,
Oat
which
milk's good.
yeah, and I'm not saying this as a health dude because I know oat
No.
milk isn't good for you either.
Yeah,
Whatever.
people
Yeah,
want to
blah blah
rip
blah.
on everything.
Right? People want to rip on everything. So I'm just
Yeah.
talking about flavor and
Yeah.
eliminating some sugar. That's all I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
So and it's very good. I'm really enjoying it.
You can make oat milk by yourself at home.
Are you kidding me? Which makes certain perfect
It
sense
is
since it's oat milk. But
extremely easy
really, so
because
what do
I
you
do
do?
it.
How do you do it?
You get those thick cut oats, like the Quaker oats, the
Yeah.
thick grains.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get, let's say, I'm just going to throw some measurements out from, I might be off just a little bit, but 5 cups of water, 2 cups of those oats, put it in a blender, dash of salt. That's all you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah.
And then you can or cannot add grapeseed or avocado oil because those are more flavorless and you want more
Mhm.
flavorless oil. And that's going to help with creamy texture if you want that. You don't have to. That oil is
Interesting.
optional.
Yeah.
Blend it for like 20 to 25 seconds
Yeah.
because you don't want it to get gummy because
Right.
then
Right.
it's a little harder to filter. But you need
Yeah.
what you need is called, they literally call it a nut cloth.
It's not even that funny considering what we're talking about, but the fact that you like a little kid, you're like, psst, psst, come here, psst, psst. They, guess what they call it? Guess what they call it? That was the best part of that whole
Oh my
thing.
god, because I was like, I'm literally gonna break.
Yeah, yeah, that's
It's gonna totally break.
awesome. It's so
But
good.
so they call it that. It's like a cheesecloth on
Yeah,
steroids.
yeah, okay,
And
yeah, yeah.
you pour that in and then you filter out the actual milk.
I am going to cut out your hand gesture just there
Why?
because first you were talking about a nut cloth and you said you filter out. So I'm gonna
Oh my god, I didn't even realize I did that. Oh my god. Oh my god. I had no idea.
but just kidding. I'm definitely leaving it in.
Oh my god. And I quit.
Oh, it's not
But
good. It's
you
not good.
filter, and then
Yeah.
it's literally gonna be like this hard packed, like,
So you've got it in here, and do you actually like milk it and you strain it?
yeah, you
Is that
strain it
what you
into
do?
a
Okay, yeah.
bowl, and then
Crazy.
you'll get a good amount, and then you chill it if you want, or you can drink it right away. Now it's so fresh that you just mix it every time
Yeah.
you pull it out of the refrigerator.
Crazy.
It's
Yeah.
bro, it's literally like it's so cheap to do. All you
That's
need is that cloth.
I had no clue. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
and you can do that
Because
with
you be
almond milk, pecan, cashew.
really, so that's how they do it.
Yeah,
That's nuts.
it's
Because like
freaking
you be
3
paying top
ingredients.
dollar like
Yeah.
at the grocery store for that stuff.
Yeah, so everybody don't freaking go out and buy it. Make it yourself. It's way cheaper.
Yeah, that's
And it
awesome.
doesn't have 3,000 ingredients in it.
Exactly right, and that's the thing. Yes, okay, whatever. It's
Yeah.
not
Whatever.
healthy, but it's a lot better than what your other
Yeah.
other stuff you could be drinking.
Yeah. So no, it's a little trick. So I think it's totally worth doing because
Cool.
now you have full control and it literally takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Like, bro,
yeah,
like you can make oat milk any time of the day, any point during the week.
dude. I'm gonna try that. So
Yeah.
when we go to the store, I
Get
will
the
get some
cloth. Yeah.
big oats and some cloth and some
Yeah.
what kind of what cloth did you say it was?
It was a nut cloth.
Nut cloth. Okay, just making sure. Just making sure.
Yep. That's
Yep,
literally what
got
they
it.
call it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too
So
much.
before we continue, we must discuss. 'Cause I have noticed this, and I missed the last transition and I don't know why. I was just off my game. Maybe I was dealing with the horn growing from my head or whatever.
Could have been.
But I missed the last one. But you have new nails. Are we at Christmas colors yet, or what are we doing?
We're doing a little Halloween vibe.
Still Halloween, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But now we're doing more of the black
The
and the red and the
reds,
white. Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha. Because before you were doing
Yeah.
more of the orange and the black and the
Yeah. I was
Cool.
really in the mood for red, and I was 100% determined to have a new set of nails for the exam.
Awesome. Yeah,
It was a
hey,
mental
man.
thing.
Yeah, you gotta treat yourself.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah,
rip these nails off, sit down, put some true crime on, and
yeah,
literally just freaking do your
yeah.
nails.
Heck yeah,
I was
that's
like,
awesome.
you're fine. You've studied as much as you can. Just get
Yeah,
some nails on.
yeah, more than you had to, but you
Yeah.
nailed it. So that's good. So I think we promised.
We promised a story.
I think we promised a story. Do we still want to deliver that story? Do you still want to?
Please deliver that story.
Okay,
I
so
have people that are waiting for it.
okay, good. And like, yeah, it's a great story. It's a great story. So this was back when I was 20,
Buckle up.
19, 20. It was my first real job.
Yeah.
My first real job was working at a call center. And if anyone has ever worked at a call center, you know that they're horrible places to be. They drain the life out of you, and everything about it is terrible. 19 years old. And I had worked there maybe 6 months or so, and I hated it. The only thing that was nice about it is they had stand up desks, which was great. But and you used to work at a place like this, but you had real strict adherence to like the phone and being at your desk and
Oh my gosh.
break times and lunchtime, like crazy stuff. Like it's like first world country complaints or whatever they say, first world problems. But like you would have to like hit your button to go use the restroom, and you only had a certain amount of time to use that per day. So like if you had like a tummy ache or something, I don't know, you get written up. It was crazy stuff, right? Crazy stuff. But so I've always had a kind of a IBS kind of stomach, right? Just kind of an upset stomach all the time, even as a kid. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to get in trouble for having to go use the restroom when I have to use the restroom. So I started looking into it, and fiber. I came across fiber. I'm like, fiber, okay, cool. I can take fiber. So I went and got some Metamucil, right? And so Metamucil is just fiber. You drink it, and then you get your daily supplement fiber. Kind of to point in the future, I still take fiber every day because
Me
once
too.
I figured out that like it's amazing, and it's like
It
yeah
is.
I take it every day.
It's so
But anyways,
important.
going back,
Yeah.
so I went out and got some fiber, and got back to my desk, and I just briefly looked at the back, and it read, take 2 to 3 tablespoons, once a day. Well, I was like, all right, cool, 2 to 3 tablespoons. I don't know if you know this about me, but I always do things to extremes, always. So I did 3 tablespoons. It said 2 to 3. I did 3. Pop, pop, pop. Tablespoons, stir, drink. I guess spoiler, because it doesn't matter when I tell this part of the spoiler, it's not the actual story. It said teaspoons. So yeah, it did not say tablespoons. It said teaspoons. I read tablespoons. So fast forward to me close to getting off. Maybe it's like 3 in the afternoon, and I just start, my stomach just starts gurgling and bubble gut and like all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, what is happening? Oh my gosh! So like I said, we have stand up desks. So I pushed a little button, stood up. I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm not very comfortable. It's like something's happening. And I looked around because as I'm standing up, you can see it in all the other cubicles. I'm like, well, nobody else is around, or they got their headphones on, so nobody's going to hear. Maybe I just let out a little pooter. Maybe I just let out a little pooter, and it'll help my tummy, calm my tum tum down, make some room. So I kind of, and I know the girls don't fart, but if you ever have farted or seen someone, sometimes you might lift a cheek or like lift a hip, to kind of just create some airspace, create a gap. So I kind of lifted the hip, and I'm looking around. I let out a little pooter, and it was a little tougher than I thought it would be to get this pooter out. And it which is weird because it really doesn't take very much effort to get a pooter out. But so I kind of did one of these things and kind of opened the cheek a little bit to let out some room. And anyways, long story short, it wasn't a pooter. It was a giant hard rock of poop that had collected in my colon there because of all the fiber. And I didn't even realize it at first. Like I was kind of like, no, that's not, no, that didn't happen. And sure enough, I felt it roll down my leg. It rolled, out my boxers and down my leg, and it's just sitting there like at the cuff of my pants and my shoes. And I'm like, hold on, what just happened? what just happened? I was like, how did this? I couldn't believe it. So, anyways, I was like, okay, dude, you got a couple options here. You can kind of duck waddle to the bathroom and kick it up into the toilet and flush it and clean yourself off, and or you can just realize the position you're in and where you're at in your life and how much this job sucks, and kick it under the desk and just walk away. So that's what I did. I just grabbed my pant leg and shook, kicked it out. It rolled under the desk, and I hit hang up on my phone, and I walked out. And that was my last day at that job. And to this day, who knows? It maybe there's still a fuzzy little ball of turd sitting under my desk. I don't know, but that is my that's my fiber story.
Oh my god, it is still just as funny.
Dude, it was unbelievable. Like as I'm sitting there, just getting all I'm getting ready to do is fart, man. All I'm getting ready to do is fart. And the reason you open a little cheek is so that you kind of open a little bit so that it doesn't nobody can hear it. It opens a little bit so that it's not like when you like blow up a balloon and then you like kind of stretch both of the sides and it makes the noise when you let the air out. This kind of opens the hole a little bit so that the air can go out without making noise. And it didn't make noise, but it wasn't a pooter. It was a ball of poop, a rock hard ball of poop, basically full of fiber.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah,
It's still nobody can top that story.
I I don't know,
Nobody.
man. I don't know why it happened to me. Like we said last week, I'm glad it happened to me because it is a great story.
It's an
It's a great
amazing
story.
story.
Yeah,
And the fact that you said, you know what? I have two options. I
yeah.
can waddle to the bathroom
Those
or
are
I
my
can
two
just
options.
kick it
Yeah,
under the desk and walk away.
yeah.
Dude, that is like the birth of a hero.
Dude. And if anyone, backseat drivers, Monday morning quarterback kind of thing, if anyone can think of a third option I might have had, I'm curious to hear. I'm
Yeah.
curious to hear those at the point in time. Those were my only two options,
Yeah.
and I chose the latter. I chose to walk out, kind of like when you in the movies, like a Tarantino movie or something. When they're walking away from a car and then it explodes and they don't even look back and they just keep walking.
Bro,
That was
that
me,
was
dude.
so you.
That was me, dude. Just walking out, chill as could be. Yeah,
Chill.
yeah. So,
Oh my god, you just needed like a warrior sword or something.
oh,
Like
something, yeah, just
badass
something, man.
cloak. Like
Or even a mic. I could have dropped a mic or something. Just
boom.
yeah, just
Could have been
whatever.
your mouse, you
Yeah,
know?
could. I'm glad you said mouse. For some reason, I was thinking you were going to say mouth, and I don't know, mouth and poo. My mind goes to strange places sometimes. Have you ever seen Human Centipede?
No, that's disturbing. I would never see that.
It's the first one is just as disturbing as you'd think, but there's a elegance to the storytelling.
There's an
It's disturbing.
elegance.
It's disturbing, but it's interesting. Okay, it's disturbing but interesting. Now, Human Centipede 2 and 3. I think we've talked about this before, but I don't know how in the world someone had in their mind could make something like that. It doesn't sitting there watching it. It's like, how could someone think of these things and actually put it on film and think that was
Like
of any value at all?
exactly.
Yeah, but the first one is very interesting. Anyway, so when you said mouse, but I thought you said mouth, I
You
immediately went
went,
to Human Centipede. Yeah,
you know what? You are disturbing.
I
You were disturbing. You poop your pants. My flowers bloomed. My plant.
just now.
Well, not now, but
I mean, like
I've been
you saw it
watching
happen.
it. No, 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 no,
Oh,
no, no. But
oh, okay.
it's a croton, I think is how they pronounce it.
It's crouton.
This is a bite-sized crouton.
Yes, it's crouton. It's what you put on your salad.
Those are really good, by the way.
I love croutons.
Croutons are
They're
really
so
good.
good. Again,
Yeah.
carbs, because everything people
Again,
eat is
yeah,
carbs.
everything is
Yeah.
carbs. I know I've cut out so much carbs. Sometimes you
Oh,
go
I
through
mean, eat a
these.
salad. It's so healthy. That salad is 1,500 calories.
Yeah. What dressing
Like,
did
come
you
on.
put on that?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. I
Yeah.
know, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I had baked chicken last night with
Nice.
Italian seasoning with Brussels sprouts and
love Brussels
cauliflower
sprouts.
rice.
Oh, sounds so good. It sounds so
I
good.
literally was like, this is the most perfect meal I've ever
Yeah.
had.
Yeah. Which, like, you get to the point where, like, man, like a hamburger or a pizza and things like that, sometimes that just doesn't sound good because you need something.
I literally just said that to my family the other day. I was
Yeah.
like talking because I'm like, we've really implemented the lifestyle change.
Yeah.
And I said, it's like weird. Like I don't crave the carbs and sugars anymore.
Right.
Like I'm
Right.
like, I go, God, a steak fajita salad sounds really good. Like the real
Yeah.
steak fajita
Right.
salad. It's not
Right.
the freaking
Right.
Americanized.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
No, I know.
yeah. Now we will do, so what we do is we cut out like 80 to 90% of carbs and sugars every day.
Yeah.
And then like the coffee, the creamer, like that's my big go-to.
Right. Well, and I know
But
you guys like to bake and have your baked goods every once in a while, and that's
yeah.
fine when it's. I'm not saying it's fine when. I'm saying do you, if you
You've
eat
got to
if
live.
you eat 100% carbs every day, that's fine. You do you. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to do and what you've tried to implement is less carbs, maybe just for that
Protein and
special occasion, or
vegetables
yeah,
and
protein, vegetables, and it gets to the point where your body's like, oh yeah, hey, by the way, psst, this is what you're supposed to be feeding me.
yeah.
This
It's a
this is
weird
making me
mental
feel good.
change.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude, you
And
feel so much better
oh my
after you eat
gosh,
meals like
dude,
that.
I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we do once a week, we have a fun meal. And sometimes
Yeah.
that's not even a big carb meal, but sometimes it's just like a cheeseburger with buns,
Yeah. Right.
and
Right. Right.
that's what we do. We'll
Yeah.
do pizza once a week if we want to. Like we did pizza last week and it was just so fun
Yeah. Oh
because it's
yeah.
like you eat really healthy all week and then that's your
Right.
one,
You get that.
like you
Yeah.
crave that and you're like,
Right.
okay, I want that.
Right.
But no, it's
And now, one thing that's interesting is I've never been a sweets guy. Like I'm just not. Like I could walk by a table of sweets and not eat them. But when I do the no sugar thing or just cutting back on everything to where it's a very small percentage of my diet,
yeah.
then when I see sweets, man, it's like, yeah, give them all to me.
Give
So
them
I
all.
yeah, I have those super binge moments where
Yes.
like, dude, oh, there's a plate of cookies. I'll take 2 plates
Yes.
of cookies. Like like not just 2 cookies. Like man, I'll have like 2 plates of them. Like it's crazy because like sometimes your body just craves that. But it's
Yeah.
I think it's more mental than body because again, your body wants the healthy, yummy, the good
Yeah.
stuff.
No, like even
But
the blueberry muffins I made on Wednesday, they were
yeah,
made with almond flour, cottage cheese, and allulose
oh look
sweetener.
at you,
They were completely like the blueberries was the sugariest
the
thing on
sugars thing.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And even those are healthy for you, right?
Now,
In
did they taste?
moderation. They
They are
freaking
healthy for you. I have frozen blueberries in the freezer, and that's what I eat when I need a sugar snack.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, blueberries are so good. And
yeah,
they're really
they're great.
they're good for your brain.
But
But
but they were good.
it was so good. Oh my god.
Nice,
It was so good.
good,
At the batter, dash of cinnamon, man. It was a life. I was like, dude, I could eat the batter.
dude.
Like,
Cinnamon is a game changer. Like,
oh god,
yeah.
it's so good.
Did I
Yeah.
tell you? My buddy was showing me that when he brews coffee, he puts a couple teaspoons in the grinds when he
You mentioned something
yeah.
about that.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
not like on your coffee or in your coffee once you pour it, but he actually puts it in the ground in the coffee grounds like while it's brewing. It's very good. I guess yeah, it's really good.
Oh my god, I love
It kind
cinnamon.
of just infuses the coffee
God,
with some cinnamon. Yeah,
I love cinnamon.
yeah,
I
cinnamon's
would
great.
sell my soul for cinnamon.
Yeah,
No
it's really good
questions.
stuff. It's the one thing I'm not looking forward to when I actually finish the Singing Blade and want to actually push myself as an author. Because even with urban legends, I don't really push myself as an author. I just push myself as like, hey, this is a cool book, lots of cool stories. But I don't
Yeah.
really push myself as an author.
There's a difference, I think.
Right.
A little
But
bit.
when I finish the Singing Blade and actually want to, I'll probably start like a social media platform for as me,
You should.
for the book,
You
and all that
should.
stuff, and that it's like I don't because I don't pander to people now. Some people hate me, like some people really don't like me because I don't pander to them at all.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm okay with that. Why would I have to pander to you?
And that's like for me, my personality's always been that way. If you
Yeah,
F me over, you're gonna know about it.
right.
Like I was a terrifying human being.
Yeah,
And it's just like, but then I get into this social networking with people and I'm like, and with my book and people and people knowing those people. And I'm
right.
like, I can't like, even that's why I was so nervous because I was
Yeah,
like, bro, I'm like, he's been an ARC reader. He knows readers of mine.
right,
Like my gosh, you start to
right.
think of what are the long-term impacts if
Exactly,
you cross the wrong
exactly.
person.
Right.
Yeah. So
Which is
that's
really sad that you should have to because neither one of us are mean people.
no,
It's not like we're ever
we just have boundaries.
right. There's just boundaries, but then to avoid something like you said, a future impact, you lower your boundaries or
Yeah.
you allow
Because people
things
are
in
mean.
right. And it's like it's really sad that this environment is like that now that you can't
Yeah.
have your boundaries and everyone thinks that they get a piece, and if you deny them that piece then they'll
Lash
run your
out.
name through the mud.
Right.
And
And
it's crazy.
that's the biggest negative impact I think I've seen as an
Yeah.
author. It's just like exactly what you said, like lowering those standards and, being okay being walked on
Right.
because you are trying to compromise so they don't get the wrong impression of you, and then you can keep that extra few readers that might be impacted
Right.
if that one person,
Exactly.
because as an indie author, I mean, you take the readers you can get,
Right.
you're
Every
grateful
single one
of
of them.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you always treat them well.
of
But then,
course.
like, if one pushes too much, it's so sad that we're at a point in social media, in really in desperation as indie authors, that is a necessity to lower your
Yeah.
boundaries, to allow things that you normally wouldn't allow. Not that you're mean, and not that you're standoffish, or not that you're a bad person, but it's just like, hey, these are my boundaries, or this is what I've placed up around me. But people think they can just crash right through it, and then you're afraid that if you let them, then they'll badmouth you, or they'll, like you said, they'll stop reading, and or you know
They'll
supporting
lash
you.
out.
They'll lash out, and then other people will stop reading and supporting you, and
Yeah.
it'll be some trickle effect. And why should you have to fear that if all you're doing is just keeping up your boundaries?
Just being you.
Right. Just being
Maybe
you.
having the right to be human and having those boundaries and taking
Right.
care of you, because
Right.
at the end of the day, and this is the not so pretty side of publishing and this community, and I think it's important that we talk about this, is that there are people out there, even if they publish even under a pen name or whatever, they're not necessarily the most kind people.
Sure.
And sometimes you come across those people, and sometimes you, as a nice person who is also a business person because you are publishing and you have a book and all of that and you're marketing,
Yeah.
you connect with these individuals and you think, okay, well, as we share like interest, we can help boost each other.
Sure.
But then you have that one person who
Right.
starts to take a little too much or expect too much or
Right.
overstep. And suddenly your boundaries are getting lower and lower
Right.
because you think if you say anything, they're going to badmouth, run your name through the mud, exactly what you said. And now, can you even defend yourself from that when we live in an age, and we've talked about this before, where the cancel culture is extremely toxic?
Right, and it's such a microcosm of the
Yeah.
cancel culture
Yes,
that it
yes.
doesn't really look like cancel culture, but that's exactly what it is. Oh, Chelsea won't respond to my text, or she won't edit this for me, or she won't look at this thing for me. So now I'm going to, badmouth her.
Right.
And then that person's friend is like, "Oh, that doesn't even know you from Adam." But that person's friend heard your name and heard this person saying how much of a jerk you were, is like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to read that." And so then
Yeah.
she tells somebody else, "Oh, that Chelsea, she's a terrible." And so it's this trickle effect of small little cancel culture microcosms that can really affect you. And why I hate the fact that people have to be afraid of that just for being themselves and having boundaries.
Yeah.
That's a rough place to be, man.
Right. Because there are leeches out there, man,
Oh
and they
yeah,
will find you. It doesn't matter if they're in the community or not.
yeah,
And we've all been a victim of a leech
sure,
where they get into your life and you're like, gosh, like this
yeah,
person, they just need everything, or
right,
they just seem to suck all the life out of me.
right,
Or I think they call them energy vampires too. I think
sure,
that's another
yeah,
term.
yeah,
But it's just like those people exist in every community. It doesn't matter if it's just books, it's
right.
music, it's freaking restaurant, it's
It's everything.
corporate,
Yeah,
it's everything, it's
yeah,
personal. And it's a shame that in a community where your whole identity is based off how you represent yourself,
right,
because you only get to show a piece of yourself,
right,
right, when you're marketing and promoting and all of that, trying to connect and make readers happen and
right,
all that fun stuff. It's a shame that you can't include those personal boundaries there
right.
because you get punished for it.
Because like at work, if you have personal boundaries, those people need to respect it and just go on about their day.
Yeah.
But here, it's like, if you put up a personal boundary and somebody breaks it down, and you have to say, strongly, hey,
Hey,
I'm,
I have a
this is
life. Like,
right. Like,
yeah.
then the recourse there is, oh, you could lose readers or followers or fans or even friends if the person is vindictive enough and badmouths you enough,
Right.
you know. So it's really it's a sad state, and it, like you said, it all stems from cancel culture, that we think that we have the power to ruin somebody
The
else's.
right.
Right, that we have the right to ruin somebody else's progress and success just because we don't like something they did.
Right. Or because we think we're owed something.
Right. Right.
And that's what's so difficult for me. I know every single person that listens to this and everybody single person in the community has somebody like this in their life.
Oh yeah.
I
I
know it.
guarantee it. Yeah.
I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult because sometimes you want to be that nice person and you want to be that broad and welcoming and
Right.
that nice person,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
We're not mean.
Exactly. Right.
And but then you get exposed to people like that and it's very difficult to find that compromise.
Right.
And but you're obligated to try to be nice to them because you're more scared of the consequences of
Exactly.
what happens if they lash out because
Exactly.
you put your foot down and
And that,
defend your
that is
private
a
space.
form that is a form of abuse. And it is somewhat a
We're
self-inflicted.
normalizing.
Right. It's somewhat self-inflicted abuse because you're so afraid of it that but again, it's the abuse of the other person. It's like, man,
Manipulative, You're
yeah, it
like,
is. It's
yeah,
I'm sure there's a term for that. You're the psych major. There's got to be some term for that.
gaslighting. I don't
I
know.
don't know. Yeah, but regardless, it's
Dude,
or should I say irregardless? Because that's, yeah,
irregardless,
irregardless. But no,
Sensu,
regardless, yeah, it's
it's
crapshoot,
sad.
man. And so like,
Yeah,
so like, I know there's people that don't like me, and I know that there's people that you know uh would badmouth me or would badmouth my book or any future book that I have, but I'm not going to pander to people and lower my boundaries
but
or
and this is where I leave you with this food for thought, is you say that. And then what happens when you introduce people into your circle of readers and all of this? Like exactly as I've told you,
yeah.
in a little bit more detail that was not
Right, right.
legally
Some
allowed to
some
be
of that'll
placed
be
here.
edited. Some of that will be edited.
But now couple of years goes by and you start to see another side of somebody and they
Right,
start to take a little bit more space from you and now
right,
you're so rooted in this community and what you define as success for you
right.
that you're like, well, if I do say something, if I do put my foot down, what is this person willing to do to prove
Right,
their point?
right. But again, that goes back to, it's kind of a self-inflicted abuse because, you're kind of
Yeah,
stuck. You feel stuck.
you really do feel stuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And so I think every single person in the community has somebody like that in their lives.
yeah.
And if you don't, I'm so happy for you.
Right,
But I do think it's a very common thing because I think we've normalized it
right,
given the cancel culture
right,
ideology that says it's okay to have a right to think that you know somebody else's life better than theirs, than
right,
they know their
right.
life.
Or if they do something that offends you or upsets you or, rubs you the wrong way,
You have a right.
you then have a right to
Right.
cancel them or to injure their success in some way.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's when you work so hard and you claw, tooth, nail, whatever it
Right.
is for each little percent of success.
Right.
That fear of losing a portion of that by
Yeah.
standing up for yourself outweighs the standing up.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
sad.
Exactly. That's it right there. Right. Boom.
Mic
And
drop.
the obvious answer to that will be discussed next week. Um, we'll leave. How's that for a cliffhanger? No, I have no idea what the answer for that is. My answer
I
would
don't
be
either.
F it and tell them to go kick rocks. But
Yeah, and that's why I think
I'm not at the same place as you're at yet. Like I said, when I'm
yeah.
finally trying to move, the singing blade and present myself as an author with this fantasy novel, and really this whole the last 3 years with me, since I've kind of been in this public sphere and in this sphere of writer, has always been very tongue in cheek, very
Yeah.
chill, very relaxed, because I just don't care. But when the Singing Blade comes out and I want to take it to that next level, my next perceived level of success, then I will care. And so
Yeah,
what
because you
do I
have
do
to
at that
create a
point?
brand around that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So,
And that's where it's like the food for thought. It's like
yeah.
It's definitely there's a lot of beautiful qualities about the community, and I know you and I've talked about
Oh
that a
yeah,
lot,
yeah,
but there is this little hidden toxic
oh yeah,
subculture
yeah,
where it's frowned upon to set boundaries.
yeah.
It's frowned upon to say that's not okay.
Right.
And I think that's extremely sad
It is.
that
It
we
very
allow that and perpetrate that and just say, propagate that and just say,
right.
you know what? Yeah, lash out. Let's support it. Let you know
Right.
what that person said. Hey, I can't do everything for you, even though I'd
Right.
love to be a nice person and do everything for you.
Yeah.
And you lash out and hurt that person, and suddenly the whole community thinks the person who stood up for themselves is the bad person.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. And
Right.
that's where it's like very, very one sided
Yeah.
cancel culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Anybody who's watching or listening, tell us what you think about it. And
Yeah.
if there is an answer, is the answer tell them to go kick rocks and just and take the hits where you have to take the hits and risk losing sales, losing everything. If
Losing
if you get
readers.
canceled
Yeah.
hard enough,
Yeah.
or do you take it and you just get abused and you just continue to get abused?
Yeah.
What do you do? What's the answer? Tell us, listeners,
I'm curious.
watchers.
I'm
Yeah,
curious. I think it all comes down to a matter of what do you define as success? What are you willing to tolerate? And what are your coping mechanisms? Because I know you and I have talked a little bit about what I do,
sure.
which is the silent treatment.
Oh, I thought you were going to say get just blackout drunk. That's not what.
Like
That's
the
not.
only time I got like drunk was when you and I did that live, and
That was hilarious. That
I
was
still don't even know what we said.
no, no. I have no clue. After about the 1 hour and a half mark, I don't remember a thing.
I just remember falling up the stairs.
Yeah,
And we were still on a live. I know
yeah,
that because
yeah.
I walked away. I think I was choking, and then I fell up the stairs and I was laughing.
I still have that on my hard drive. I still have it. I've never watched it. I've never not once watched it, but it's on there. The whole thing, the whole 3.5 hours is still on my hard
Were we
drive.
on for 3.5 hours?
We were on for 3.5 hours.
I have
Yeah,
no recollection of that.
yeah. So I'll have to go look at that sometime. I'll have to go look at that at some point and see what it's all
Yeah.
about.
That was the
Yeah,
drunkest I've been.
yeah.
That was because I don't drink a lot. So it was just
Yeah,
like I was wiped.
yeah. It was something. It was
It was
something.
beautiful.
Yeah. It was a beautiful thing. Anyways, let's
Let's
yeah.
wrap it up.
Everybody, let us know what you think. If you made it this far, we kind of should have addressed that. Started off with that because that's a great conversation. So hopefully people made it far enough to catch that. But yeah, let us know what you think. And until next time, I have been Micah.
I've been Chelsea.
This has been We Don't Know, and you have been a beautiful audience. Good
I
night.
love you. Good night.